Ladies and gentlemen, something is happening in Emurua Dikir.
Tuko DCP! Wapi kura DCP? Kole hii ama ya magana tapkon.
Yomune. Hao ni watu ya marehemu Mheshimiwa Johana Ngeno. Marehemu Mheshimiwa Johana Ngeno alikuwa rafiki wangu wa karibu sana. Na mimi nataka niseme pole kwa kumpoteza kiongozi wenu. Kiongozi wa maana sana. Alikuwa mtetezi wa wanyonge. Aliangalia akina mama wajane. Akasaidia watoto yatima. Akatetea mashamba yenu. Hivi nataka niseme pole kwa kumpoteza kiongozi huyo wetu.
And if William Ruto is not careful, then Rigathi Gachagua is going to humiliate the UDA candidate. And that's going to be a major blow for the president.
Emurua Dikir, Vincent Rotich is a self-driven guy. I've never been to Dikir. I just talk on phone. But with the Kasongo men, we are neck to neck. And I can tell you as of this morning, because the campaign stopped yesterday, we are ahead. Yeah. All we need is to protect our vote. I'm told Mukomen has been told to go there to mobilize chiefs and assistant chiefs and Nyumbakumi to intimidate our voters. I want to ask the people of Emurua Dikir not to be intimidated, to have the true blood and spirit of Johana Ngeno, the late.
The campaigns ended, was it yesterday or yesterday but one? And tomorrow is the day. But I followed that campaign very closely. Something caught my attention. The power of women of Emurua Dikir who are supporting the DCP candidate. Emurua Dikir is in Narok County, but predominantly part of the larger Kalenjin nation. As a matter of fact, the first member of parliament was Johana Ngeno. And it's because of Johana Ngeno why that constituency was actually hived off Kilgoris. It was expected that after the death of Johana Ngeno, UDA was going to have it easy. Unfortunately, I think UDA party failed on one aspect, the nomination. There is a gentleman there who used to be a personal assistant to Johana Ngeno, who most residents believe was actually rigged out. He is the reason why DCP candidate might actually defeat the UDA candidate.
And I want to make it clear, Chamua na Mwaujuto, mimi nilikuwa agent wa UDA, nilisimamia kura 6. Kwa bahati mbaya Mungu amechukua Johana wetu. Sasa hivi najaribu kung'eng'ana kufunga pengo lililoachwa na Johana. Kwa nini mtu ananiletea one term governor na sijakuwa na by election ya governor? Sasa ukiniambia one term governor, nasema one term president, kwa sababu yote ni sawa. Na nataka niulize rais, you still remain as my beloved president. But the question remains, why is your name at the by-election of Emurua Dikir? Who are these cadets have been masquerading here now, especially Emurua Dikir? What are they interested in Emurua Dikir?
In this video, I want us to talk about that by-election tomorrow and why William Ruto should actually be worried. Before I do that, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the reasons why I strongly believe the by-elections in Kilgoris, it's a do or die for President Ruto. And if Rigathi Gachagua will win, then William Ruto is going to be in deep trouble. Why am I saying this? Number one, Rigathi Gachagua needs the much needed momentum. And there is a trend. Rigathi Gachagua won a by-election in Kakamega. He then went and won a by-election in Narok. That's outside Mount Kenya. There has always been this attempt to portray Rigathi Gachagua as a tribalist. Of course, he lost in Mbere and the two ward by-elections which were conducted the other day. But the truth is, if Rigathi will win in this by-election, he's going to regain or he's going to gain momentum. And the truth is, if he will gain the momentum, he can actually push this momentum until 2027. Because remember, there's another by-election in Olkalau. If Rigathi Gachagua were to win in Emurua Dikir, the way things are, he's going to gain that momentum. Remember, as we speak today, have you ever seen any UDA leader campaigning in Emurua Dikir? Have you? When Johana was being buried, the UDA leaders were actually stopped by the residents from speaking, which means there was something. So Rigathi is going to gain that momentum. Remember, Rigathi Gachagua has nothing to lose in this constituency, whether he wins or not. But stars are likely aligning towards his favor. So if it will happen, he will regain that momentum. Number two, the Maasai votes. William Ruto is banking on the support of Raila Odinga support base. The Maa community traditionally voted for Raila Amolo Odinga. With the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, it was expected that William Ruto was going to easily inherit Raila Odinga support base. As we speak, the Luhya nation is slippery. Kisii is gone. Coast maybe still with him, but again, you can't bank on. So it was expected that with the death of Raila Odinga, William Ruto was going to easily consolidate the entire Rift Valley. That is the Maa community, that is the Pokots, and that is the Turkanas. Those regions, in most cases, they've always voted for Raila Amolo Odinga. And there is also this Kipsigis, Kalenjin, and Maasai war down there. If, for example, the DCP candidate will win, and this is predominantly Kipsigis, or do we call it Kalenjin? What message will the Kalenjin nation be sending to William Ruto? What about the Maa? Because if the Maa voted for Rigathi Gachagua during that by-election in Narok, the ward, and again now the Kipsigis or the Kalenjin are voting for Rigathi Gachagua, what message will they be sending to William Ruto? And will William Ruto allow a defeat here? So let us wait and see. Importantly, the perception. Politics is a perceptional game. It's going to be very bad, politically speaking, and perceptionally, for William Ruto to lose in Emurua Dikir. Because so far we have so many undecided Kenyans or voters who are still standing or sitting on the fence. They are waiting for signals, and they require right signals to support Ruto. If, for example, Rigathi won in that Narok town ward, and then he wins in Emurua Dikir, tell me the perception around Narok. It will be two. Number one, Ruto has been rejected by his own people, and importantly, that Narok, and remember Kajiado is also out of reach. It will be like Narok and Kajiado are with Rigathi Gachagua. I don't know whether this is by design, because the system can also make it by design to convince Rigathi Gachagua that indeed he's controlling. I don't know. But the truth is, perceptionally, it's going to be very bad for Ruto, for Rigathi to win. Number 4, I'm looking at a possible rebellion from the Kalenjin community towards Ruto. Because when there was this by-election in Baringo, something happened. Gideon Moi wanted to contest. And most political pundits had already predicted that if Gideon was to contest, he was going to win. William Ruto had to persuade Gideon Moi not to run. And that's how most people believe the UDA candidate ended up winning. So that was a rebellion. We are now in another by-election in a Kalenjin dominated constituency. And there's a kind of a rebellion. So Ruto must ask himself 2 or 3 main questions. Why is he facing this rebellion? Is it because of his allies? Or is it because of the effect from other parts of the country? Or what could be the cause of this rebellion? So he must ask himself why the residents or the Kalenjins are rebelling. Because these are people who are expected, being our politics is tribal, to automatically support Ruto. Importantly, is it because of disappointment? Is it that the Kalenjin, just like the rest of the country, probably are not happy with William Ruto? What is causing this rebellion? So William Ruto must go and figure out the reason why his own people are rebelling. And importantly, which is my 4th point, and this is very important, President William Ruto will live in fear of one term. Because this is kind of a protest vote. You can't convince me that the residents of Emurua Dikir would give the president this kind of a problem. The other day when the president was in Bomet, he told these people that, you guys are not even registering to vote. And the problem with the protest vote is that sometimes they might protest in this by-election. Then in 2027, it's going to have a spiral effect. And because of that, it's going to affect the turnout. So that the Kalenjin nation would just protest by not turning up to vote. And that's why the result of this by-election is actually very important. And my last point is that if Rigathi will win, then it's going to position Rigathi Gachagua and his party, DCP, as the party of choice in Narok, in Kajiado. And of course, we go to Nakuru and Mount Kenya. Tell me why Rigathi Gachagua will not be on the ballot if his party can be this strong. Because I had expected, for example, Jubilee Party to sponsor a candidate here. I had expected, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Party to sponsor a candidate, not DCP. Because DCP is a new party. I never imagined that after Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, the Kalenjin nation would embrace his candidate like this. So it's going to position Rigathi Gachagua's party in a pole position, which means the party will not be able to attract more aspirants. It will be able to attract those who are yet to decide. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is not far. Even if UDA candidate will win, how the DCP candidate will perform is also going to be very important if the margin is not big. But if the DCP candidate will win, William Ruto will have to go to the drawing board. They should not have a difficulty in Emurua Dikir. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.